Hello, welcome back to Live Noding. In this episode, I'm gonna do improvisations using animation nodes and Spreadshop, basically in relations to Blender modifiers. So let's get started. So normally in a normal Blender environment without nodes, if you perhaps want to make a kind of like a grid, by default the grid will create 10 by 10 points of grid, and you're happy with it, and then you want to perhaps just add subdivisions, and you want to make it kind of rounded, and then you use solidify, and then solidify add some kind of thickness, and thickness can go up or down, but I think just make it like that for now. So yeah, you can add all kind of modifiers, and that's fine. You can duplicate it, and then once you duplicate, this is like new objects, and you can give like different thickness, for example, just a simple, simple basic example. And modifier is cool that you can always go back and perhaps do like explode modifier, and maybe kind of separating the face if you are using particles. Maybe don't worry about that for now. So just a subdivision and then solidify. So that's fine, but every now and then you kind of, let's say, okay, you wish that the plane is the grid is a different, kind of like in different resolution. Instead of 10 by 10, you want it to be smaller and things like that, and you have to go back and recreate the plane. Or yeah, maybe you can try like create a grid and then make it like 4 by 4. Okay, and then you copy the modifier from here to there, from this guy to that guy, Control L and assign modifier, and do that, so you get, get a different result like this. That's fine, but I'll show you that with nodes you can actually perhaps do this kind of workflow a little bit better if you actually need to make a lot of duplicates of these objects. So let's try first with animation nodes. Okay, with animation nodes you have this powerful instancing, and let me save real quick. So this is SV and animation nodes modifier combo, and with currently with this guy selected, let me save this guy as a different name. Okay, so currently it's named as grid. So let's first create object instancer. So instancer in animation nodes is cool that you can copy full objects with deep copy, so it copies the modifier. You can make as many as you want, and you can easily change it. So let me show you. Let's say you want to use matrix, distribute matrices, and we're gonna use grid and use a matrix output. So these objects we want to arrange it in grid, and let's make it 3 by 3 9. Okay, make 9 of this guy. So now we have a grid of these objects, and we can perhaps hide the original, so that will work. So now we have these 9 instances, and each one of them already carry the master modifier. And if you want to make any changes to the setting here, you can use the object data path output. So this is really handy. So for whatever objects here, if you want to make changes, so it doesn't work for like vectorized objects, so you need to use loop. So select this guy, and then tap W, and then loop through the objects. And for each of these objects, you want to change the thickness, for example, negative or positive, doesn't matter. So thickness, if you select it and then right click, copy the data path, you can just paste it here and have a look. So it's looking at every object's modifiers with the name solidify, and you want to add a different value for thickness. So let's try that. Random number. We're gonna give a different seed depending on the index of the objects, and then we can output a value. So that's what we get. We can randomize the seed. So it's okay. Let it grow downward like that. So this is really how you do it using animation nodes. It's pretty easy, pretty cool. It's pretty handy. And since this is like a different objects, you can also easily give like a different color if you like. So for each object, you want to change the color. You can try color input, or rather color combine color or create color. Let me check. Color, choose color, combine color. Combine color. Let's try this. So index between 0 and 1. This goes into the HSV, maybe Q. This goes into the color. Okay, the color perhaps expecting a vector, or what is the error? Oh, I guess don't worry about the color anyway for now. So thickness modifier we can control using animation nodes, and then this is cool because you can increase the number, and no matter how many objects you have, you can always have like randomizations for all this. And you can make adjustment. So that's cool. How about let's further explore how you can do this using Spreadshop. So let's actually save this, save as new blend. So we're gonna delete this modification using animation nodes, but we can leave this array. So we can generate like any number of objects as we wish, while we're gonna use Spreadshop to modify the modifier here. So let's do that. First of all, I think, yeah, let's just jump into Spreadshop. Inside Spreadshop, we can create new, and then we're gonna deal with object set or object ID selector. First of all, we're gonna grab all the objects with a name. So we need some kind of filtering, object ID filter, because by default this will select everything. This one we're gonna try to get just the grid with dots, so just the instance. By doing this, if you check, we're just gonna grab 30 objects being generated on the fly using animation nodes. So these objects should have the modifier, so we can easily change this thickness or whatever using Spreadshop. And in Spreadshop you have object ID set. So just type the objects, and then with the thickness you just copy that apart, and then let's see if we can just give a random value very quickly. Hopefully this works. So you can see it's already worked, and we just need to find out the total number of the objects using list length and pipe it into the size. Level need to be 0, and now so you have the setup ready. So you can now go back to animation nodes. So based on the single objects, based on this guy right here with a grid modifier already set up, you can have as many as you like, and Spreadshop will update itself and adapt to it. Okay, so that's I think that's really powerful. And there's one more thing I want to show you. Based on the previous live noding, remember when I used the exact modifications, the exact node mode. This is like a Python script wrapped into some kind of nodes, and this guy can actually create a combo of this modifier. You just need to be careful with this because it might create some kind of strange loop. Be careful with the naming. So in this, before you plug anything into this guy, you ensure that the name here and the sub modifier is actually correct. We know that Blender has all kind of modifier, and so this is all the list of modifier, and you can use this and then just plug it into here as a node. For example, for what we are doing, we need solidify, right? So we're gonna name this solidify. This one is gonna be also solidify. This one, the type. So the name can be anything, but the type should be matching one of these lists. So let's try to create a plane, and this plane grid can be of any resolutions. We plug this as a viewer B mesh, and this is gonna be a new master objects. So we should already have something here. There you go, that guy. When we plug this into that guy, we're gonna have modifier ready for us. So this is a new object generated by Spreadshop. By default, the name is alpha_0, and this already have a modifier. So let's first, I'm gonna try to hide this object first. Object visibility output. So this object, just hide it. So this is the one that's being generated by Spreadshop. You can further generate the grid. So I'm making 16 of them, and each one of them already have modifier. And then if I go back to this guy and now selecting any objects with alpha, find modifier with the name solidifier, so we get this. So yeah, this is I think really powerful. It's probably not easy if you use this for the first time, but I think it's can be really handy depending on what you're doing. You see, you can easily do this. So this one is just using Spreadshop. The thing with Spreadshop is that here I'm using plane and a viewer B mesh. That means it's actually generating the mesh on the fly. Sometimes you just want to have an instance. That's where you use animation nodes. So animation nodes is good if you already have an object, one single object with a modifier combo, and you want to instance it. You use animation nodes to do that. Spreadshop is sometimes can be more dynamic, and you can really easily change without using loop. You can vectorize the data. You can pipe in a lot of data all at the same time without any issue. In animation nodes, sometimes you need to use loop. It's just a different way of handling the data, I guess. But I'm pretty sure at some point this animation nodes can be more clear about which one is vectorized or not. You can tell when you try to plug an object into something and it doesn't work, then you use loop. Just like the one I showed you earlier. So object, data, output. We have these multiple objects because it's half transparent. If you want to plug, you want to operate on this and it doesn't work like this, you need to use a loop. Inside a loop, then you can assign data for each and every object. In Spreadshop, I think by design, Spreadshop is actually for, it was created for parametric modeling, and it should always, I think, work for multiple data because of the nestingness of Spreadshop. So you can operate with multiple data because in Spreadshop all the data is always like a kind of like a nested nested data. So this is your data, and then you work and operate on nested data like this. It's very interesting. Basically, once you understand it, it's you have basically control over any data blocks in Blender, anything, and you can easily use object ID selector to get anything, and then operate on anything. That's the idea, basically. So yeah, that's just a quick improvisation using Animation Nodes and Sverchok in relations to Blender Modifiers Combo. So really, you can easily create this, and then you can save it as presets, and then you make modifications as needed. So this exact node mode, of course, you need to be really careful with this guy. This is like Python code running every frame updates. So yeah, this one generate modifier. You can type this yourself if you like. So there you go. Hopefully you find this useful. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Bye.